Earth Mother, Sky Mother, All Mother, give us all good luck today until another. So mote it be. Welcome to Truly Terrified, Paranormal versus Physics, where we talk about some really weird stuff, and Joe the scientist explains how it's not possible, or maybe it is. I'm Lynn, and...
I'm Joe.
So that was a spell, if you couldn't tell.
Well, you just cast a spell?
Yeah, for good luck.
Oh, okay.
So spells are essentially incantations or rituals that are performed with specific intentions in mind, such as love, prosperity, protection, or even hexes, which would be a negative thing. When I was in my early 20s, I don't know if I've ever told you about this or not, I had a friend named Anna, and she's the one who lived next door to us and died on the highway. She got out of her boyfriend's car on the highway.
Oh, you've said this. Yeah, that's horrible.
Anyway, when we were in our early 20s, she was really trying to game life. She was trying to find a way to make life work better for her. Mm-hmm. And so she found a book of spells at the library and roped me into performing them with her. One of them, well, as far as I could tell, none of them worked. Let me just say that right off the bat. The things she wanted were love and, money and things like that. I don't think she wanted retribution against anybody. One of them that I remember pretty clearly involved burying a raw egg at a crossroads at midnight.
Did she?
And we did. We took a raw egg and we went out to a crossroads. And I think it was down near the cemetery, but it wasn't at the cemetery. Uh-huh. It was like maybe Buchanan and Adams. No, Buchanan and Adams wouldn't have been it. Utah and Adams, maybe?
Literally in, because...
Well, we couldn't do it in. We had to do it on the edge. So...
Well, does that nullify it?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea, but it didn't work. I mean, as far as I can remember, nothing happened, except that I was really concerned that a cop was going to stop us and say, "What in the world are you doing?" And we would have to explain how we had a raw egg.
Devil worshippers.
We were burying it at this crossroads in the middle of the night. That would not have been...
Oh, you had to do it at night?
Yeah, it had to be at midnight. It was midnight. I can remember our Christina and Dusty, so Christina being my child, Dusty being her child, they were very, very young, and we just left them at home with their fathers and went out in the middle of the night.
Was it fun?
I don't remember it
Sounds like a kind of,
I don't remember it being particularly fun. I think I was humoring her more than anything else.
It sounds like a very humorous thing.
She was so serious about it, I don't think it was funny. So in that respect, it wasn't fun.
And wait, and it was supposed to apply some effect on her life?
Yes. And I don't remember what it was, but
how could it differentiate between her and you?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I mean, I think we had to wrap the egg in something and she dripped wax on it or something.
So
there was more than just taking an egg out there and burying it. It was like there was stuff and saying things and, So I will get to some spells that I want to share. But first, I'd like to point out that prayer could be considered a spell.
Wait, so is there a definition of spells?
Yes. Spells are incantations or rituals performed with specific intentions in mind.
Okay, so it's not about speaking.
No.
It's incantations, ignore that part because would be the ritual part.
Yeah.
It's a ritual with an intention.
Not necessarily a ritual implies that you do it repeatedly.
It's an
act.
Yeah, well, no, it's the ritual in the sense of doing some particular act, some particular thing in a particular way.
For a particular reason.
But the implication in it, that's the cause for some effect.
Yes. So if people pray for health, if they pray for peace.
So that's true. It is. It is. Spell.
It's a spell.
But I've said this before. It's really obvious to get mixed up your words or like saying something and the effect. So like the cause-effect relationship between things. If your internal model, so not necessarily something you can convey through words or that you even understand. If your internal model for something is just incidentally that if you say some words, then it happens. Like you could have been exposed to that across your life. Somebody says something and then it happens. So your brain encodes.
Yes.
This is the cause-effect relationship.
Yes.
And obviously that doesn't have to always be true. So Is it ever true? You know.
Okay, certain customs, habits, and traditions could also be spells in addition to prayers. For instance, saying bless you when someone sneezes. Or another one is how brides wear white. And they will carry things that are old and new, borrowed and blue to bring good luck. Well, what's that if not a spell?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like anything superstitious would be a spell. You know, you spill salt, you're supposed to put salt over your shoulder.
It's like you have this assumed cause-effect relationship where you do something and you get an effect.
Right.
And obviously, even if you believe some spells are real, not all of those spells are real, right? So like for instance, let's say I'm OCD and I have to unlock and lock the door.
I did think of this
20 times, or else what?
Doom and gloom. Yeah.
Now, if you were to go like, okay, those aren't spells. You know, you get into the semantics of the word spells. It has to be speech, you know, spoken or whatever, or it has to be like, oh, you're like you are specifically doing something, like you're arranging items like the egg and the crossroads, whatever. Even those, some of those are guaranteed to not work, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
I'll put it like this. Either they all work, or some of them don't work, or all of them don't work, right?
Well, that's a wide range of options there.
Possibilities, yeah. Well, that categorizing it, you have three options. Some of them don't work, all of them don't work, or all of them work.
Okay, so what's the point of that? That's just random chance then.
This is why it's important. If you believe some of them work, but you see that some people are doing spells, what they call spells, but you understand that some of them don't work, then what those people are doing could be in the category of they don't work.
Okay, that's not that much different from prayers either. Because people will pray, oh, please, God, don't let me lose my job. And then they get fired that afternoon.
Very similar to like, if you believe your religion, but you don't believe other religions, you have to know that either all religions are true, some religions are true, or no religions are true. Most people would be either in the no religions or some religions category.
Yeah.
And so if you recognize that some religions are true, like you're assuming that, you know, it's like the reflection principle. Whatever you believe, you have to apply that same thing, at least counterfactually, to your own belief. Okay, I put the egg in the crossroads. Is what I just did in the category of this doesn't work?
So I ran across a rabbi online, and he was very clear in saying that prayers are not magic and spells are magic. So it would follow that prayers are not spells. Okay, so what's the difference between
magic
and not magic? You know, when you're talking about prayers or spells.
At some level, it's like, okay, if I like water a plant for 10 seconds as opposed to 20 seconds, it's my rule. It's got to be 20 seconds or whatever. That's in the same sort of vague category as you say something and this happens, you know? Like I do this thing and I get this effect. Magic would be cause-effect relationships that are outside everyday experience. Like if I talk to this person who I know and I know I'm talking to them, they're real. And then they do something for me. That's a cause-effect relationship. That's like very not exotic. That's normal. Versus I talk to this like ghost and they do something for me. That's an exotic. So that's like the divide of magic versus not magic.
Okay, I don't think so. So I'm looking it up.
Paranormal.
Magic.
Well, what on earth could it possibly be?
Okay, magic is an ancient practice rooted in rituals, spiritual divinations, and or cultural lineage with an intention to invoke, manipulate, or otherwise manifest supernatural forces. What's the difference?
Supernatural.
Well, God is supernatural.
Yeah, but imagine imagine it like this. Okay, let's say every day Jesus comes down, talks to the community, talks to you, and then it's like, he goes into the lab and he does some, they're trying to get to the bottom of like how his power works, and they have some models, they can predict a lot of it. That would be every day. It would no longer be magic, him coming down and
right.
whatever. But because you can't test it, you can't take it into a lab, you don't even have lots of experience with it, or potentially any experience with it. That's when it's magic.
You can't even measure it.
You can't measure it.
No.
You can't reliably reliably reproduce it.
Right. So prayers include saying or thinking, because you might be saying it in your brain, a desire or wish. That is what a prayer is. Your desire might be for people to give glory unto God. Your desire might be for your baby to be healed. Your desire might be for you to find true love. That is a prayer. What differentiates it between a spell is that you're directing it to an entity. So, a spell isn't necessarily directed towards a specific entity other than the powers that be. Yeah. So mote it be.
Although it could be that an entity is the thing, the agent that's causing the effect.
That is true. So I just want to point out some other things that people do in religion that could be considered spells. Burning incense on an altar, dunking people into water to baptize them. Those are rituals that are not unlike the actions of a spell. So this guy named Philip on Quora said this, quote, "There is very little difference between praying and spell casting, at least if you do both correctly. Prayer is simply setting your intention and asking God, or the universe, or the universal mind, to grant you your petition. Casting a spell is setting your intention and, with the aid of a god or without it, sending it out into the ether to be manifested. It's a matter of perception. That's all it is." So all these people who are praying, piously praying, all they're doing really is casting spells. And if they only recognize that their spells are not working, they're just not working. They're not working.
So that always, with everything we talk about, that's always the question. Is it true?
Okay, so there is another type of spell that people use all the time. I use it. I think you probably do. It's positive affirmations. And those are also a type of spell. So you're saying, today will be a wonderful day and I'm going to go forth and be successful in all that I do. What is that if not a spell?
It's interesting that almost certainly, like those sorts of activities almost certainly are actually statistically correlated with those same outcomes that you want.
Yes.
So that's not like, some like magical thing is happening, some paranormal thing is happening to produce the cause-effect relationship. There is a complex cause-effect relationship that I know there's a statistical, you can confirm it. And people have confirmed it.
Yes.
With priming and there's been studies on positive affirmation.
Yes. And it goes along with The Secret or the law of attraction, that people will say, and granted, this is, their own reporting of it, but they'll say, no, I really focused on that I wanted a Jaguar, a car, not the animal. And I put pictures up on my refrigerator. I thought about it all the time, because your mind starts looking for ways to make that happen without you even realizing it. It just starts looking for ways to do that. And so when you say a positive affirmation, today is going to be a wonderful day, you're going to make that, you're going to manifest that.
Yeah, but it's happening in you. You're biasing yourself towards decisions that produce your perception of you getting what you want. So,
as I often say, it doesn't even matter how it comes about. It matters that it does come about. It just, that's the bottom line.
So, but even when, if you do a spell, like you put the egg at the crossroads and wax and whatever, and then because that's on your mind, you start biasing your behavior towards it. There is a correlation, certainly, of you getting what you want.
Yes.
But certain spells, certain tradition behaviors like that, not tradition, ritual behaviors like that, won't. I mean, there's probably a correlation, maybe, but it's like insane. Like you take the lizard tail and you put it in the hollowed out tree trunk, and then that's supposed to kill your rival or something. And that's not going to happen. I mean, it is my belief that is not going to happen unless you are trying to kill them.
That is true. So that is hideous and horrible. But I think that your chances of success with a spell and your chances of success with a prayer are probably about the same. Actually, I think a spell might work better because you generally do something in addition to just thinking it in your head with your hands clasped under your chin. With all that in mind, everything that we've just discussed, here are some spells.
Okay.
First, there seems to be a few main subjects of spells that people are mostly interested in. You want to take a guess at what the top spell search is?
Oh, like a love spell?
Money. People want money. They also want to find someone who will love them back, or they want someone they already know to love them back. Health, including weight loss. So health and healing and weight loss, having to do with their physical body. Safety and protection, because a lot of people are under some strange delusion that there are evil forces affecting their life, and that's why bad things happen to them.
Consider
what?
Fucking the state of society right now. I mean,
Well, okay, I'll buy that. And the last is retribution. They want to get back at somebody. Now, I think that would fall under the category of being a hex. Hex being a spell that's bad.
A hostile.
Yeah. Okay, so easiest one for protection, easiest one ever. You fill a bowl with salt and leave it near your front door. And so it purifies the energy when you enter and leave, or if anybody else comes in. It purifies the energy passing through the portal of your front door. That one's easy. Another one is buy white flowers. And then, I suppose you could pick them if you're lucky enough to grow white flowers in your yard, and ask permission from them.
The flowers?
Yes, that they will protect you. So, flowers, will you protect me? And the flowers presumably will say yes. I hope they do not actually speak.
Yeah, that'd be
Then you put them in a vase and you put them in your home. And if they wilt earlier than you expected, that means that there was something evil there and they protected you. They took the evil into themselves. Here's one for sleep. You can utilize a dream catcher, which a lot of people have. We're lucky enough that Libby makes dream catchers, so she has given us lots of dream catchers over the years. So you take a dream catcher and you turn off all the lights and perform this at night. So presumably you've hung the dream catcher over your bed or near your bed. You have one candle, and that's the only thing that brings light into the room. It doesn't matter what color the candle is. You light one candle and you say the following 3 times. I bless this dream catcher to make my dreams bright, remove all the negative aura until there is only light. I bless this dream catcher to bring me peace, to bring me happiness, love, and protection in my sleep. By all of the power within me, so mote it be. So the number one thing I notice about a lot of these spells is that whoever is writing them doesn't understand the conventions of poetry and rhyming. That is the thing. That's why I was laughing, because there's not rhyming, except it's almost rhyming, but there's not really rhyming. It's not the conventions of poetry. It's like, dude, do you understand that this is awkward? What you've written here is awkward.
So that brings up a very interesting point. Let me go on a little brief tangent.
Okay.
In like fantasy fiction work, books, movies, whatever, there's like this gradient of high versus low magic. Okay?
Okay.
So I think I'm pretty sure I have the directions right. Low magic is like subtle, works in the background. It's not flashy or showy. It's not an immediate, obvious cause-effect relationship necessarily. And then high magic, I might have the directions reversed, but high magic is like you shoot a fireball out of your hand. You know, it's a made obvious, like it's not normal to do that kind of thing. And it's obviously like it goes infinite in either way. Like on one extreme, it's like probability manipulation, you're God. There's literally impossible to see the cause-effect relationship. And on the other hand, it's like you're levitating things with your mind. It's very, very obvious what's happening. In terms of popular culture, Harry Potter specifically is like what you would think of when you think high magic spells.
Making things levitate and things
You have a
happen.
wand and you say the magic words and then something happens, okay? Very interesting topic. And obviously, Harry Potter is just a work of fiction. It's just a children's book series. But who makes the spells? And again, I'm not talking about that book series. Specifically, I'm literally saying generally who makes the spells. Let's say you have an ancient spell and you say some Latin and you like cut out the chicken heart or whatever. You burn the weeds. I don't know.
Burn the weed.
You make the offering or whatever. Someone obviously wrote the words down initially. Like, so, I mean, even if that worked, even if you say the magic words and a fireball shoots out of your hand or your wand or whatever, you said like human words, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you said words in Latin or something. If you said slightly different words, or you made up a language and said words in that, or like instead of a chicken heart, you used the lizard heart, or you know what I mean? Presumably, if you did the spell wrong, either something like else would happen or nothing would happen. If nothing happens, it would imply that whoever initially did this actually created the magic.
Okay, so this is why I think that it doesn't really... So I'm laughing when I read this because it's poorly written. But I recognize that the magic is not in the words. The magic, if you want to use the word magic, the power is in the person who is saying the words and their belief.
Yeah.
Because if you say this, I bless this dream catcher to make my dreams bright, you are using a positive affirmation. That's all it is.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's like the realistic interpretation, the probably true interpretation. But imagine if there is a paranormal phenomenon going on and you really are doing the equivalent of like you bury the egg on the crossroads.
Right.
And it has some effect.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, how?
Okay.
Somebody, you know what I mean? Somebody thought, okay, you put the egg in the crossroads. Was it God? The thing where you're like praying, that makes much more sense because you are trying to convince an entity who could then go out and do things for you. That makes much more sense than you bury the egg at the crossroads and then how?
That is absolutely true. And if there is any supernatural, paranormal thing going on, that is exactly what I think it is that you're
would have to be
interacting with
something that can intelligently comprehend what you're doing.
Exactly.
It has some value in you burying the egg at the crossroads.
Right.
Like it thinks, oh, okay.
I'll listen to you.
This makes sense then.
I'll help you out.
And I should say, if it is the case that you are convincing an entity to go do something for you, my bet would be that spells that require effort or sacrifice would be the ones that actually are the most convincing.
Now, when you're talking about sacrifice, are you talking about killing that poor lizard and cutting his heart out?
For instance, if you cut yourself and bleed all over the thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You're not going to want to do that.
Right.
Most people are not going to.
It's going to be a deeper, greater emotion.
Yeah. It means a lot more. And incidentally, the realistic take, the conventional take that It's you doing the magic. You are the one, you're convincing yourself. If you do those more extreme things, that's going to be more convincing to you.
Okay,
I still don't recommend like bleeding all over a thing.
No,
But
that's really horrible. But I think that I take what you're saying, and I think that there's something to that. But I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be blood. I think it might just be effort.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
more effort you put into it.
really, it's like, okay, what's value? Typically, value is like how the thing that makes it less likely. Like for instance, gold. Gold has value because it's rarer than iron, So the value in gold is the thing, it's just the rarity of it. So if you have like 1,000 people doing spells and they're doing like, oh yeah, I want my $1 billion, and all of them are doing it, then what's going to be the most, they all can't be billionaires.
Well, they could, but I get your point. So here's a health spell. For this one, you'll need a blue candle. You light the candle and say, I am healthy no matter what. Germs don't stand a chance. All of my illnesses are gone. Enchant me with this spell. So mote it be. And then blow out the candle. So that's a kind of low effort one. Obviously. So there's not very much sacrifice in that one.
Okay. I have to ask, is it more effort to do that or more effort to like eat healthy and...
Way more effort to eat healthy.
Yeah. So...
Okay, here's a money spell that's a little more complicated, takes a little more effort. You will need the following items for this spell. A piece of paper, a green pen, not the outside of it, green ink, 3 shiny coins, it can be any denomination of coin, cinnamon, basil, paprika or cayenne pepper, in other words, a pepper, a red pepper, dried red pepper, a candle of your chosen color, a mortar and pestle, or I guess you could use a bowl with a wooden spoon, and you'll need a piece of string. So first, you write the initials of who this spell is for on the paper using the green pen. So you have a piece of paper, and if it was me, it would be LC. And then you turn the paper clockwise, and you write, money is near, money is here, 3 times on top of the name. I think we should try this one.
Yeah.
I think we should. We should try this one. Okay, so you turn the paper clockwise, you write money is near, money is here, 3 times on top of the name. And then underneath the name and the command of money is near and money is here, you write a money symbol such as a $sign or a pound sign or a euro sign, whatever your denomination sign is. Next, put the herbs into your mortar and pestle or your bowl and spoon, if that's what you've got, and blend it in a clockwise motion while focusing on your intent. And just to remind you, your intent is money. Then you rub the herb mixture onto the different coins, and then put those coins on the middle of the paper on top of the initials and the commands. And if there's any extra herb stuff, you can sprinkle that on and kind of rub it into the paper. Then fold the paper toward you. So you turn it towards you until it's a little pouch, and then use the string to tie it up. Keep the pouch near a candle and light the candle as much as you possibly can. Obviously, don't leave it burning if you leave your house, because you could burn your house down. No time frame on when you'll get your money. And last but not least, here is how to attract a true love. You'll need the ability to light a fire safely, like in a fireplace or a fire pit. You'll also need laurel leaves. They're also known as bay leaves. You can get them at any grocery store. Get the whole leaves, not crushed. You sit before the dying fire and gaze into it. Clear your mind of all thoughts except that of your lover. Have a small basket of laurel leaves between your knees. Keeping your gaze fixed on the fire, dip your left hand into the basket and take out a handful of leaves and toss them into the fire. As they burst into flames, chant out loud, laurel leaves that burn in the fire, draw unto me my heart's desire. Then wait until the flames have died down and repeat the action. Do that 3 times. And then after that, you have to drink this lover's tea. So this tea is really complicated. Now, this doesn't work because this is a lot of effort to go to. A pinch of rosemary, 2 teaspoons of black tea, 3 pinches of thyme, 3 pinches of nutmeg, 3 fresh mint leaves, 6 fresh rose petals, 6 lemon leaves, 3 cups of pure spring water, sugar, or honey.
Oh, that's not going to help. That's going to taste gross.
So you brew that tea on a Friday night during a waxing moon. Now, waxing moon is when it's going from a new moon to a full moon, so it's getting bigger. And then you place all the ingredients in a copper tea kettle, or I guess you could use an earthenware tea kettle. I don't know many people who have earthenware tea kettles because
that's like clay.
That would be like clay. Boil 3 cups of pure spring water and add it to the kettle. So you boil the water separately, pour it in the kettle with the herbs, sweeten it with sugar and honey if you want, and then recite this rhyme. By light of moon waxing, I brew this tea to make, the lover's name, desire me. Then drink some of the tea and say, Goddess of love, hear now my plea. Let, lover's name, desire me, so mote it be. On the following Friday, brew another pot of the tea and give it to the person you want to love you, and then it'll soon fall in love with you. I don't think so. We're doing the money one, just so you know. We're doing it.
Okay, yeah, we could do it. We could record it. I think that beyond any magical effect, do spells. Do spells. Mm-hmm. Do spells in your life, because it will have an effect on you regardless if it is a magical effect or not.
Truly Terrified is a Salt of the Earth production. Tell us your story and send us your comments. You can send us a 3-minute voicemail at 715-575-9420 or text us at that same number. Email us at lynnandjoeonthego@gmail.com. Our contact information is also in the show notes. Please share, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and never be so terrified you can't run.
And drink the tea or not.